after the Jungle Brothers, you guys were like the first official like native tongue group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, in regards to the native tongues, there's no commanding line of order or nothing like that. I think, we met JB's at a gig. They invited us to a gig the next day. We went to the show the next day, met Tribe there, and then something just clicked. So it really wasn't about any order. After that click happened in Queens, we invited them to come to the studio probably the week following. They all came to the studio, hung out, and then lo and behold, Buddy came out of that. Yeah. So I mean, there is no really order in line. It's like we kind of like just all organically met and made a phenomenal record and a relationship, out of just hanging out. And I think that it's kind of funny how people create this big thing about native tongues when it only really stems off of one record, nothing more than that. Like maybe identifying that it was a real relationship, a true friendship, a true connection. But all we really, or musically, the successful end of that, all we really got to hold on to is Buddy.
I mean, I remember there was that one line, or some tongues who lied and said, we'll be natives to the end. Nowadays, we don't even speak. I guess we got our own life to live, or is it because we want our own kingdom to rule? Mm-hmm. Like, who was that about?
That was a line I had wrote for IMIB, and that was when me and Tip and Af was going through our little growing pains and going through it with each other. So that's how usually I write. I write where if it's a good day, if it's a bad day, I write about it. So those are one of those bad times where, I think we as groups were in our individual rights becoming very successful and known, and friendships can get a little strained. No different than us as brothers, how we can go through it in our own group. So that's what that line was basically about. Just how I felt we were friends, but in terms of being friends, you're supposed to treat each other like family and brothers, opposed to what I thought maybe they weren't. So, I mean, obviously we grew past that. And I could even honestly say, like, I regret writing it. Not in terms of what art and what I felt, but it was only one instant where I felt like that and wrote it, and then it becomes a line that's known forever. And I remember even though me and Tip was good by then, I remember him saying that in an interview, and I was like, I agree, because he was like, he's constantly being asked about it, and we're way past that, but it's like, it's etched in time.
Well, I mean, Buddy was the song that all the native tongues were on together, but you guys had a lot of songs that you were jumping on, like even like a war tour, like Trugoy did the hook to that song. So there was a lot of native tongue collaboration that was happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, you talking about doing our own thing
on Jungle,
Jungle.
How You Want It, I Got It on Jungle.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's not really that many quote unquote collaborations,
I mean, in comparison, like you said, like if you're talking about Eric and Keith Murray and Redman, or like how where there's a lot of collaborations between a crew. There really isn't a lot.
I mean, you had some successful groups trying to maintain their own careers, and we were all over the place. I mean, Jungle might have been in Germany, and we're somewhere in Florida, and Tribe and them are in LA, and of course we were friends when we got together. If time permitted to do songs, we did them, and it was never a forced situation.
Yeah.
A war tour happened because we was just recording in the same studio. Yo, come down the hall and write a chorus. So you go down the hall and you listen to the track and you write a chorus. Yo, you guys want to do a song? We're in the city. Cool, let's go and just see what y'all doing. And things were just happening like that, and it's kind of cool that we do have those type of things. It isn't a long list of catalog, but you're talking about just friends who are just good to, happy to make music with each other.
Yeah.
Nothing ever strategic, nothing ever like, yo, we gotta do this. Of course we sat down, there were times where we sat down talking about doing tours. We sat down to talk about doing even merchandise at one time. Like the whole native tongue things could have been even a Broadway play we had talked about. But, for some reason or another, everyone had their own careers and were pursuing them and trying to master their steps. And, time didn't permit for it to happen a lot. But for the times that we did do things and did create songs, we just had people enjoy that.
Yeah, it was very organic, as Dave was saying. If Mike G from Jungle was in the studio that day and we was working on Fanatic of the B Word, that's why he then was up top saying what he was saying on that record. Or if Black Sheep was hanging out in the studio and we did Keeping the Faith, that's why they just did that one little part in the song. And of course remixes on Saturdays where Fife can then get on it as well as Tip. So it was just a lot of organic, natural stuff going on, which was really cool.
$25 million bail, like
I'm going in there and rob whoever got the $25 million bail. I'm taking everything out of his house because he won't be coming back. That's going to hit him now.
I've been so used to playing the back for so long that doing what I'm doing now, it's like I didn't even realize that how differently people are looking at me already in that sense. Like there are people now when I go out, like before people never used to come up to me when I go out, but now when I go out, people always come up to me.